You know, we can always count on MiceChat putting out at least one article per month full of rumor and speculation and with just a dash of cynicism, and this month is no different. Today we're going to talk about the success of MaxPass and for the future plans of Pixar Pier. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Fresh Baked. I'm your host, David, and I've got some thoughts about this stuff that MiceChat put out in their most recent article about MaxPass and about Pixar Pier. We'll start with Pixar Pier, where MiceChat is reporting that not only are we going to get a new skin for the pier, but at least one new attraction, and they're going to put it right into the middle of California Screamin'. It seemed to me like the most logical place to put a new attraction would be on the old Maliboomer location, but what MiceChat is reporting is that they're going to drop a spinner ride into that helix at the far left of the California Screamin' attraction. Both California Screamin' and the new attraction they're dropping in will be themed to The Incredibles. Screamin' will get a new skin themed after the character Dash from The Incredibles, presumably reminiscent of the 100-mile dash that we see in the film, but no word yet on what the spinner ride will be themed after other than being incredible. Now, I'm sure they could fit an attraction in that helix, although it looks like it would be tight, but you could probably fit something the size of Astro Orbiter or Dumbo or something like that. But my question would be, where are you going to put the people? Now, an attraction had always been planned, or at least conceived of, for this location, and you can see that there is sort of a walkway into that location. But outside of that, where, you know, the extended queue, there's going to be more people there, and I feel like that's going to be a difficult proposition, and I'm a little worried about congestion there. Of course, I'm sure they have a plan for that, and I think this is a positive move for a park that is in desperate need of more things to do. I myself am usually only in the mood for about half of the attractions that exist at DCA. Not always the same half, but on a given day, about half the attractions suit me. However, a spinner ride does seem a bit redundant. You've already got the Silly Symphony swings, the Not Golden Zephyr, and the carousel. Is there really nothing else that they could put in there? Well, on that note, MiceChat is reporting that the theater that they're planning to build, the one that's going to be in the area where the Boardwalk Games currently are, is going to host Turtle Talk. They're going to move Turtle Talk from the animation building over to Pixar Pier. We thought at first this might be a movie preview site, much like they've been doing, you know, throughout DCA, but this would be significantly better, even if it is just an attraction moved from one place to another. The bottom line being that it's good news for the park in general, as it gives us more room to build another attraction in the animation building, or it gives us hope that maybe they have other plans for the animation building in general. Meanwhile, we've got at least one new attraction for the pier, and possibly two if the spinner attraction plays out. Heck, maybe even three, as another rumor that MiceChat is reporting is that they're holding out that Maliboomer space as an entrance queue for a new dark ride that's going to take place behind the buildings along the boardwalk, behind the shops and the Boardwalk Games. By the way, for those interested, MiceChat is reporting that what they're planning to do for Turtle Talk is to theme it similar to the one that they do at Tokyo Disney Sea, where the attraction takes place in the hull of an ocean liner, which apparently is a much better and much more convincing scene than the one that we have today at the animation building. And again, this will be a welcome change, provided that they don't try to rush things or cut corners. And after all, that's the entire problem with Hollywoodland and the Hollywood backlot, is that, well, they're just not finished. It also sounds like they're getting on this right away with plans for California Screamin' to go down for a 6-month refurb at the end of the year. And if I understand correctly, the total project timeline is 10 months. And that's inclusive of the Screamin' reskin and the installation of the new attraction. Considering this, I've got to say that this tight production schedule has me more than a little bit concerned. It has me a lot concerned. It's great that they want to get on this quickly and get moving right away. That's great, but it doesn't bode well for the quality of the final results. There's a concept in business called the project management triangle, and in it, it suggests that there are 3 qualities that any project or product can have. A project can be good, fast, or cheap. And I say or because it can never be all 3. It can only be 2 of those 3 things at best. This Venn diagram illustrates the possibilities. A project can be good and fast, but not cheap. It can be good and cheap, but it'll be slow. But if it's cheap and fast, it cannot be good. In my personal experience, this has never not been the case. And the part that troubles me is that these are very smart men and women who have also learned such things, and they know these rules, and they're still trying to do this. Now, I'm personally okay with Pixar Pier as a concept. I was never a fan of the boardwalk theme myself, but that's a whole nother conversation altogether. Just ask Ian, he's got his own thoughts on the topic. But even if we're okay with Pixar Pier as a concept, there's a very real likelihood that the finished product is going to be just like what we're used to at DCA. Fast, cheap, and not very good. So let's change gears, guys, and talk about the other major topic that MiceChat brought up in their article, and that is the early results for MaxPass. They're calling it better news, but I'm not so sure about that myself. The good news for Disney, at least, is that MaxPass has exceeded expectations. They had fairly conservative expectations for the success of MaxPass, and the early results have far surpassed those ideas. But this is pretty much what I had expected myself. I felt like MaxPass would be a success because people were expecting to pay for this service. But not just MaxPass, but for Fast Passes in general. I feel like people want or expected to pay for Fast Passes. But it's bearing out in the results, where Disney was expecting a 5% conversion rate. They're already hitting 25% of all guests purchasing MaxPass with their ticket or their annual pass. This means that they're not only okay with it, but they were right and ready to do it. So bad news for those who were hoping that MaxPass would be a free service or thought that it should be a free service. The unofficial boycott never really got off the ground, and it won't be long before we're paying more for MaxPass or for that dreaded paid-only FastPass service. Reading between the lines of the MiceChat article, one can only infer that that's where we're headed. MiceChat is predicting that prices will be up before Christmas, and they also stated that MaxPass can be set up where an individual attraction's FastPass can be available only to people with MaxPass. My guess is the new attractions coming into the FastPass system will test this new feature, most likely Pirates of the Caribbean, as they've already installed the infrastructure for MaxPass, and they were just waiting to find out, I think, how MaxPass played out if the results were good before turning it on. And I predict, again, that the idea of getting a FastPass for Pirates exclusively through MaxPass will be highly favorable with guests. And I believe that our quick acceptance of this will only embolden Disney further. They'll carve out more features for MaxPass only, and over time, will slowly devour all of the free FastPass features that we've been used to. This information only confirms for me something that I was expressing a few weeks ago, where I compared MaxPass to the idea of putting a frog in a frying pan. Disney won't put the high heat on right away so that we don't reject it outright. They'll put us on slow simmer for a while, adding a little bit of feature here, a little bit of feature there. And my guess is by 2019 and the opening of Star Wars Land, we'll have a fully paid FastPass service. And it's a shame, really, because I do like the service. The app is great. FastPasses are great. I love FastPasses and I love MaxPass. But Disney is missing out on an opportunity to separate themselves from the rest of the theme park universe. Obviously, the goal here is to make more money. That's what this is for. But I believe they can make just as much money if they make it a free service. There are non-tangible benefits to creating goodwill with your guests. You want your guests to love you, not to be angry with you, even if the product is great, which it is. A guest who spends his money willingly is going to spend more of it. You don't want to be trying to pry that money out of them. That's not love. And that's something that's a term that we use to describe Disneyland as in terms of how we feel when we're in the park. But as they do more of this, we get less of a feeling of love and more a feeling of being, just a dollar sign. And we'll end with that, Fresh Baked, but we've got more to come. But we do want to know what your thoughts are on Pixar Pier and MaxPass. We should have more for you on Pixar Pier coming later this week in our trip report, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, Fresh Baked!